All right, chapter 10, post-classical Asia and beyond. So after the classical era. So the questions that'll be on your exam and at the end of your sections. What were the major civilizations in the post-classical era? So what were the groups that were in in Asia at that time? What were the effects of the Mongol invasions? And what were the achievements of the Ottomans, Mughals, and the Ming Chinese? So, Ottoman Empire, Part 1. So, Arab Muslims created a vast Islamic civilization that eventually spread from Spain to the Indus River. That's what we talked about in the last chapter. So, the Ottomans, a nomadic group of Turkish people, emerged as the rulers of the Islamic world in the 13th century. They captured Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Located between Europe and Asia, they interacted with both cultures throughout its history, and for a time the Ottomans cut the European trade with Asia and took control of the Mediterranean. The Ottomans also conquered Egypt, North Africa, uniting all the Muslim world under their rule except for Persia and Afghanistan. They also conquered parts of Eastern Europe, and by the mid-1500s, under Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman Empire reached its heights. So this is the largest that the Ottoman Empire got, but it's been several. It's really been a lot of different sizes as you go through time, things like that. But the main thing is, again, they captured Constantinople, which is the major trade network for the known world at that time. So the Ottoman fleet controlled much of the trade in the Mediterranean Sea, just like the Romans did for a while, and the Carthaginians. Until they were defeated by the Spaniards and the Venetians. So Venetian are the people from Venice and Italy. Italy was not its own empire. It was different city-states. So Venetian was a city-state that actually helped out and defeat the Ottoman navy. So at the heart of the Ottoman system was the Sultan. And this ruler had this unbelievable, lavish court. And the Sultan in Istanbul or Constantinople, what happens is Constantinople, which is a Roman Christian name, is changed to Istanbul once the city is changed to Islamic. So the Sultan in Istanbul governed the entire empire as a all-powerful ruler. Under the Sultan's rule, the early Ottoman Empire was well organized, officially governed. That means later on it wasn't. He was assisted by his special army, which was called the Janissaries, and these are made up of soldiers that they found probably the healthiest children, young kids at the time, and those became his own little personal army, pretty much. The Ottomans recognized the cultural diversity of the empire. Jewish and Christian communities were represented by their own leaders. So under the Ottomans at first, the Christians and Jews were treated very well. These communities were governed by their own laws and collected their own taxes. These methods of government, as well as the Ottoman control over the crossroads of trade, prompted prosperity and stability. So they didn't have conflicts with different cultures within their empire, and of course, them being in Constantinople, that's why they grew so quickly and became so wealthy. And here's a picture. This is probably the Sultan right here. And what you're going to notice is they wear the Turkish fez hat. And this is the palace. So this would be the Sultan's palace. And here's some different events in Ottoman history. This is the defeat of the Ottoman navy. And then here's Sultan Muhammad II entry into Constantinople. Constantinople was a city that never they didn't think it would ever be captured, but of course the Ottomans did. All right, so the Safavid Empire in Persia. Islam also spread into Persia. So we have been talking about the Ottoman Empire here in purple. Safavid is going to be in Persia, so this is going to be Iran and Iraq. The Safavids created a great Islamic empire in Persia in the 1500s. And they are also another Turkish tribe. But the difference between the Ottomans, which are Sunnis, is that the Safavids are going to be Shiites. So they were opposed to the Ottomans, who followed the Sunni branch of Islam. Their association with the Shiite Islam gave the Safavids identity completely different from the other Turkish Arabs. And that's why Iran is so different from a lot of those countries still in the Middle East today. So Safavid rule eventually extended as far south as the Persian Gulf and east into the Indus River. Safavid rulers known as Shahs used their large standing armies to maintain control. The Safavid court became famous for its beautiful palaces, its carpets, and of course its paintings and miniature. So here's the Ottoman Empire. Then you have the Safavid Empire, and then this is going to be the Mughal, not Mongols, but this is going to be the Mughal Empire. Here's another good picture of the different empires. Here's some different architecture that the Safavids had, very Persian. And this is really what they're known for, is their Persian rugs.